Hi.
Recap Blitz. Today I'll be explaining the 2025 horror and mystery film, Dracula, A Love Tale. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and enjoy. In 1480 Romania, Prince Vlad enjoys a blissful marriage with Elizabetha. As a token of their devotion, Vlad presents her with a delicate music box. One day, their intimate moment is disrupted by knights who urgently summon Vlad to battle, as the nation is embroiled in war. With enemies advancing, Vlad commands his men to escort Elizabetha to a safer castle. Before departing, he receives a blessing from the Pope, praying for divine safeguarding over his wife. In a forest, Elizabetha's convoy is ambushed by an enemy archer hidden in the trees, who swiftly fells 2 guards with arrows. The remaining guards ready themselves for combat, urging Elizabetha to flee onward. Beyond the woods, Vlad shatters old barrels to ignite a fiery barrier containing the enemy forces. A brutal clash erupts with casualties mounting on both sides, though Vlad's troops hold a clear upper hand. Through skilled coordination, they fight relentlessly to secure victory. Soon after, Vlad and his men confront the enemy king, displaying their foes' heads impaled on spears. This triumph is cut short when Vlad learns of the attack on his wife, prompting him to rush to her aid. Meanwhile, Elizabetha gallops desperately, pursued by enemy soldiers through the perilous forest of wolves, where countless bear traps lie concealed beneath snow. 2 pursuers fall victim to these traps, while Elizabetha adeptly avoids them. Tragically, her horse triggers a trap, throwing her to the ground, allowing enemies to encircle her as they cautiously probe for traps with their blades. Attempting to escape, Elizabetha steps into a trap herself. When Vlad arrives, his steed also succumbs to a trap. Undeterred, he proceeds on foot, swiftly engaging and defeating 2 enemy soldiers. In a desperate act, Vlad hurls his sword to kill a soldier nearing Elizabetha, but it inadvertently pierces her as well. Devastated, Vlad holds his dying wife in his arms as she passes. Later, Vlad confronts the Pope, raging against God for failing to protect Elizabetha despite his bloodshed in his name. Demanding her resurrection, Vlad is denied a miracle. Enraged, he slays the Pope with a crucifix, vowing to forsake God unless his wife is restored. A sudden gust fills the room, and a statue of Jesus weeps, yet Vlad stands defiant. His horrified men drag him from the church. 4 centuries later in France, a priest meets Dr. Dion at a psychiatric clinic, discussing a sensitive case alarming even the Queen of England. They navigate chaotic corridors filled with unruly patients and stern doctors before entering a tunnel leading to a sealed chamber where Maria, an Italian woman betrothed to the Queen's great-nephew, is chained. Her objection to a church wedding led to a ceremony at the family estate, but the presence of a bishop drove her into hysteria. Records claim she was born in 1759, implying an impossible age of 130. Her aversion to God raises suspicions of demonic nature. As they confer, Maria stirs, hissing at them. The priest, observing her fangs, declares her a vampire, the first captured alive. He clarifies vampires can tolerate daylight but not direct sunlight, demonstrating this by opening a window which burns her skin. When he brandishes a crucifix, it ignites. To gain her cooperation, he cuts the finger of Dion's assistant, Simon, dripping blood into Maria's mouth. Examining her neck, he finds bite marks confirming her transformation. He reveals the church's centuries-long battle against vampires, still seeking their progenitor. Desperate for blood, Maria hints that her master, the original vampire, a prince, will soon arrive in the city to find his princess. Meanwhile, notary Jonathan travels through a forest at night. His coach driver halts, refusing to proceed due to approaching wolves, leaving Jonathan with luggage, a torch, and a crucifix. Jonathan continues on foot, fending off wolves with the flame. He reaches a grand castle where the gate shuts behind him. A door opens and closes mysteriously, leading him to a room where a figure on the balcony vanishes in a lightning flash. Startled by an elderly man appearing behind him, Jonathan learns he is Prince Vlad, also called Count Dracula. They dine, with Jonathan enjoying a lavish meal while Dracula abstains. With a gesture, Dracula slides a plate to Jonathan, who dismisses it as a parlor trick. As Jonathan retrieves documents, Dracula kills a rat with a fork, squeezing its blood into a cup to drink. Jonathan explains his county's interest in purchasing Dracula's old Parisian abbey to convert into a hospital. While handling papers, he drops the crucifix, revealing he's not religious and received it from the driver. Dracula flicks it into the fire and, startling Jonathan, appears beside him, suggesting bedtime. After escorting Jonathan to his room, Dracula warns him to stay inside and returns to the dining room, playing music and instructing a gargoyle to watch him. In his chamber, Jonathan finds a book detailing the castle's history, including a drawing of young Vlad, though the prince's portrait is absent. Concurrently, the priest visits Maria's fiancé, Henry, assuring him Maria is physically well but still being purged of evil. Searching her belongings, he discovers a missing book page with Elizabetha's portrait. That night, Jonathan ventures out, drawn to a light behind a door. He descends eerie stairs to a lavish basement, finding a coffin. Opening it, he sees Dracula sleeping, who admonishes him for leaving his room. A gargoyle knocks Jonathan unconscious. Upon waking, he's chained upside down by gargoyles, his blood dripping into a bowl as Dracula slashes his neck. When Jonathan questions how God could create such a being, Dracula laughs chillingly, granting his last wish to hear his story. Amused, Dracula frees him, recounting his past while recalling Elizabetha's funeral. He explains his centuries-long quest for her reincarnated soul, hindered by events like the Black Plague, when women sought refuge in sacred places he couldn't enter. Loneliness led him to envy human mortality. Once, sleeping on Elizabeth's grave, he awoke in despair and attempted suicide by leaping from a window, only to survive repeatedly. To find her, he crafted a magical perfume from enchanted flowers, testing it in Italy where women followed him enthralled. At a Versailles party, he mistook a woman for Elizabetha, only to realize his error, weeping amid debauchery. Resolving to delegate his search, he bit women at the party, including Maria, turning them into vampires. Returning to Elizabetha's grave, he broke her coffin, finding only ashes, and vowed to remain in his castle, served by gargoyles and vampires. Jonathan shares his own engagement, showing Dracula a locket with his fiancée, Mina, recognizing her as Elizabetha's reincarnation. Dracula spares Jonathan, ordering gargoyles to bring blood to prepare for meeting her. In Paris, the priest shows Dion Elizabetha's portrait, urging them to find a matching woman to trap Dracula. He cites a text stating God may deny death for blasphemy, but can lift the curse through repentance, potentially restoring Dracula's vampires to humanity. Simon enters, recognizing the portrait as a woman in the visitors' area. They meet Mina, Maria's friend, who recounts meeting her at a party where Maria became inseparable until her breakdown at the wedding. Mina confesses feeling out of place in her era, troubling her about her own engagement. At the abbey, Dracula, disguised as a vagrant, gains entry, then sprays his perfume on a Jesus statue, compelling nuns to flock to him, overwhelmed by desire. He feeds on them voraciously. At the castle, Jonathan alone uses a blanket to pull tools closer, breaking his chains. A gargoyle catches him climbing out a window and cuts the blanket, but Jonathan clings to the wall. Gargoyles fail to reach him, and when one falls through a frozen lake, Jonathan escapes fearlessly across the ice. Later, a rejuvenated Dracula arrives at the clinic, using perfume to control Simon and access Maria. She informs him of Elizabetha's reincarnation, and he rewards her by letting her feed on Simon. The next morning, the priest, researching, finds Vlad's image and learns Maria has vanished, with Simon now a chained vampire exuding the same perfume. Realizing Mina's danger, the priest acts. At her boarding house, Mina opens the door to healthy Maria, claiming discharge from Dion. Maria introduces her to Dracula at a hotel, whose sight of her evokes tears. After compliments, he kisses her hand, triggering visions of their past. Uneasy, Mina leaves with Maria for a festival, enjoying food, games, a faux mermaid show, and animals. In a haunted house, they separate, and Mina, startled by a skeleton, is guided out by Dracula. At a shooting booth, he teaches her to shoot, prompting another vision in his embrace. In his hotel room, he shows her the music box, its melody stirring familiar visions of Elizabetha. Accusing him of enchantment, Mina rejects his tale of reincarnation, though he gifts her the box. Maria pulls her to the fireworks, and Dracula escorts her home, leaving her smiling until she finds Jonathan ill with the priest and Dion. They reveal Dracula's vampiric nature and perfume manipulation, but Mina, finding no bite marks, defends him. Alone, she plays the music box, immersed in Elizabetha's memories until Dracula appears. When she demands he leave, he nearly leaps from the window, but she stops him, fearing suicide. Confronting his bloodlust, he admits it but vows never to harm her. As her nose bleeds, he tastes it, then speaks romantic words echoing Elizabetha's past, convincing Mina to accept her memories. They make love, and she requests immortality. Dracula bites her, transforming her. The priest, detecting the perfume, storms her room with a gun, finding it empty. Suspecting Dracula took Mina to his castle, Jonathan leads the priest and Dion there. Meanwhile, Maria distracts Henry with affection, nearly biting him when the group intervenes. Maria attacks, but Jonathan beheads her with a sword. Her body persists, so the priest stabs her heart with a crucifix, killing her. In Romania, Dracula and Mina emerge from a coffin in his castle. She dons Elizabetha's dress and plays the music box. The priest team with soldiers storms the castle, blasting it with cannons. Gargoyles fall to the overwhelming forces. Jonathan guides the group to the basement, where Dracula ambushes them, killing soldiers swiftly. Henry shoots him futilely, and Dracula bites him. The priest, held at swordpoint, argues God never sanctioned Dracula's killings and offers salvation. Hearing Mina's screams, Dracula secures her, but the priest urges him to spare her damnation. Locking Mina inside, Dracula faces the priest, who stakes his heart. Dracula turns to ash, the castle darkens, and gargoyles become human children. Jonathan finds Mina weeping over Dracula's ashes, which scatter in the wind. Realizing her love is lost, he departs. Outside, the ashes disperse. Subscribe and enable notifications for more stories like this. Thank you for watching.